What is up, guys? I'm XIKIZOID, and today we're continuing the playthrough of Andromeda 6. I'm super excited to finally find out the rest of the crew's backstories, and I really want to sort of figure out what's gonna happen with the plot next. And some good news, actually. We just got our new PC, so I'm gonna be getting like my boyfriend's old PC, which is still a pretty damn good machine, don't get me wrong. Yeah, I'm excited to transfer all my data to it and start recording on the new PC. I'm gonna be able to play some new games, some, more high-end games, like The Witcher or, stuff like that, like the Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Payday, and other stuff that is gonna be like a surprise for you. Yeah, I'm really excited about that. Let's continue. And where we left off, we actually just spoke to Damon and we sort of figured out what his backstory is. And it was like pretty tragic. Once again, pretty much everyone from the crew has a very tragic backstory. So let's see Bash, his backstory and what he's gonna have to say about himself. So, when I find the engineer down in the docks, he's giving orders to a couple of strange beings who are working on repairing the ruined supply room. And there we have him, it's Bash. I wait for him to finish, and when he notices me hanging around the bottom of the stairs awkwardly, he gestures for me to go over to him. Uppos Junkers. He explains as I approach and waves at the pair who are bickering between themselves in some unknown language as they work. When he whispers the next part, I lean closer to hear him better. As dumb as a pair of old boots, but they're handy in a cinch. He smiles, but it doesn't reach his eyes, and I find myself wondering what's really going through that head of his. Bash, about last night. We don't have to talk about it if you don't want to. I stop with a start, not having expected a response that was quite so dismissive. No, I want to. I want you to know that, royalty or not, I'm still the same old me. He grins, and this time I can tell it's genuine. Relief floods through me at the sight, happy to see that some things haven't changed. And if you guys remember, we actually are the princess of the whole freaking universe. So that's really something that, maybe we should be excited about, but we should also be very scared, because we have like a bounty on our heads in some kind of sense. Because Zovak, who is the new ruler, he murdered our entire family, and yeah, it was like a very brutal sort of murder, and we were the only ones who got away, and he apparently is gonna want to kill us as well, and now we have to deal with this sort of thing. It's very like a weird mix to be in. Bash says, "I'm glad to hear it, Kiki." Bash cleans his hands on an old rag, smearing the fabric with oil before setting it down again. Once this hole is fixed, we'll be able to get out of here. Should only take a few more hours at the most. He throws a thumb behind him, and I take a closer look at the progress through the open door to the supply room. Where will we go? Bash crosses his arms over his chest, his nose crinkling as he thinks about it. That's what we still need to decide. We'll need a place to truly lay low, since Terranium ended up being a bust. Perhaps one of the... Oh, the music is so beautiful once again, really an amazing soundtrack. So perhaps one of the way stations between planets. There's fields that are run by retired mercs, a good place to get info and pick up jobs. All I know is with Zovak's guys on our trail, the sooner we leave the better. He hesitates as if there is more he wants to say, but he doesn't know how. Zovak and the Khmeri clan, they've really done a number on all of us. I told you when we first met that when you had a story worth telling, I would tell you about this. He holds up his metal arm, a grim expression on his face, and I take a closer look at the wires and metal plates that complete the piece. It seems you've more than earned it. You did give me your word, or how about next time? We're gonna hear his story, of course. Well, you did give me your word after all. And Bash grins, but the humor fades swiftly when the next words leave his mouth. I used to fight in the arenas here on Terranium when I was growing up. In the smaller ones they used real fighters. Humans mostly, a few kids and Arknos here and there. The higher-tiered arenas are where the rich spend all their money building a mecca to fight to the death. They're a sight to behold truly, but the others, well, they're a means to an end. And then there was Rust. Anyone who was taking it had an unfair advantage, and I was determined to be the best, so of course I took the S2. Got hooked on it faster than a freight train. Oh, so he was like a drug addict of sorts. He doesn't look particularly proud of the fact, but I say nothing, encouraging him to continue with his story. I was wired all the goddamn time. When I figured out how to make the drug myself and start selling it, it didn't go down well with the gang. The Camari. I'm sure you've heard all about them by now. I swallow my voice rough when I speak next. It seems they're responsible for most of what's happened to this crew. Like you wouldn't believe. Picking up a rogue bolt from a stack of nearby crates, Bash balances it between his fingers before crushing it in the palm of his bionic hand, his focus fixed completely on that one small action. It was dark, late at night, and I'd just come out of a fight. Beat the guy to within an inch of his life. That's what Rust does to you, you know? Turns you into a freaking psychopath. I get jumped on my way out of the arena, half a dozen guys on me right in the middle of the street. I gave it all my all, but they were prepared. I took a dagger to the eye, another to the chest. That one pierced my lung, they told me afterwards. No wonder it hurt like hell. They crushed the bones in my arms so bad they were turned to splinters. It was never going to heal right, so the best thing was to get rid of it completely. I still remember what it felt like when they were done with me. I was dying. I wanted to die. I had nothing to live for anyway. My chest tightened. I can only imagine how Bash felt in that moment, and even the mere thought was enough to tear me up inside. And then an angel saved you? An angel. Found me beaten to a bloody pulp right in the middle of the street and refused to let me go. An archangel. All of a sudden the pieces clicked into place and I finally realized who Bash had meant all along. Ryona. That's right, Ryan and her group patched me up and found a safe place for me to recover. I even asked her on a date when I finally woke up. I thought I owed her that much. He chuckles at the memory and my chest eases at the familiar sound. Her girl wasn't having any of it though. She sure put me in my place. So Ryona has had a little chick by her side, you know. I think the two of you will make a good couple, or you seem like good friends. I'm gonna say you seem like good friends. It sounds like you and Ryona have been through a lot together. You must be good friends. Yeah, it's nice to have someone to think of as family when I never really had one. And luckily, I knew someone who could hook me up with new gear, synthetic skin too, to cover the marks those bastards left behind. Some people keep the scars, a reminder of where they've come from, I suppose, but why would I keep the battle scars when I can have this perfection instead? He gestures to himself and I roll my eyes, earning a chuckle from him. If you say so, or they did a good job. I'm gonna say they did a good job, of course. So I trail my eyes over his body, noticing the absence of scars and marks, save for the calluses and burns on his remaining hand. A mark of his trade, I'm sure. Well, they did a commendable job. And I knew you would think so. I roll my eyes at him as he laughs, glad to find the easy banter between us hasn't changed a bit. Have you decided what to do next, now that you know where you're from? I haven't decided anything, it's what I want to say, apart from the fact that if Zovak finds me alive, I'm done for. I'll be staying with the crew for the time being, is what I say instead, and Bash seems happy to hear it. It doesn't take long, however, for his face to fall. I know you never asked for my opinion, but I want to give it anyway. I've never had any love for our leaders. I've seen roaches who could run the planets, even the system, better than the clowns who've already had a crack at it. No offense. None taken. I never had a voice, I never had anything, but you could have a voice if you wanted it. You could make decisions that mattered and changed everything. It's a noble idea that I could be the one who to have such an impact on the world, but an idea nonetheless. But at the same time, I could understand if you didn't want to. I mean, what has the world ever done for you, huh? It'll be easy enough to disappear, to start a new life somewhere with someone new. Bash hangs his head in defeat, as though he wished he never spoke at all. When it comes down to it, I can't tell you what I would do because I don't know, but it's not my choice to make. I would say you do have a voice, take his hand, or I appreciate your advice, and I'm not sure I want to flirt with him, honestly, because he seemed to have like a thing for Ryona. So I'm gonna say I appreciate your advice. So thank you for saying so anyway. I think I'll need all the advice I can get when it comes to what I do next. Well, you can always count on me for that, though I can't tell if the advice will be any good. Taking a couple of steps back, I give him a smile, feeling better than I have all day. I should let you get back to your work. Like you said, the sooner we can leave, the better. That's right, and the sooner I can get the captain off my back, which is always a bonus. With a knowing smile, I head back towards the stairs to head up to the main level. And my mind is still racing when I leave the docks. Despite Bash being so refreshingly himself about everything, there have been others who haven't been so thrilled by my situation, and it's raised 1,000 red flags in my mind. The crew all have varying opinions on the matter, and while it's important for me to hear them all, they haven't all been what I've expected. And there's still one person who I haven't had the chance to speak to, though the feeling that he's intentionally avoiding me grows stronger with each minute that passes. And if you don't know, that person is June, who is the first one who actually spoke to us, and the first one who saved us from a situation that we were in. So, June. I keep thinking back to last night, my heart clenching at the memory of how distant he had seemed after my past was laid bare in front of him. And I guess that we're gonna have to find out what June has to say to us in the next episode. I really appreciate that you joined me on this little adventure. It's still going strong, don't get me wrong. But yeah, I really am excited to see what June has to tell us. He really was the first one who saved us. He was the first one who talked to us. He really believed in us, and he was the one who helped us regain a little bit of our memory, which was our name, and that is super important. So the fact that he has been so distant is kind of worrying, because he was the first one that we flirted as well with. I'm really curious to see what's gonna happen with him and what's gonna happen with the plot, how it's gonna develop further. And thank you so much for watching and for tuning in once again. Please subscribe and leave a like, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye!